Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Voice in the Pen podcast. Emily and I are super thrilled today to have Daniel Shiv of Bad Genetics in the studio with us and stoked to talk about music with you today. Thanks for being here.
You know what? Thank you, guys. I didn't want to be an ass, so I came bearing gifts.
Oh.
So I got you each a sticker.
Thank you. These
For
are
the
cool.
band.
Thank you.
Wait, it looks like your shirt.
Well, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
What a perfect setup, almost like we talked about it right.
Oh my
I got you
gosh.
both a T-shirt. That will not
Thank
fit
you
you,
so
CB,
much.
but I wanted to get you a T-shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, that won't fit.
We don't turn down free gifts.
But I don't turn down free gifts.
That actually looks like that's mine. This looks bigger.
Yeah, give him that one.
You wanna swap?
Switch.
The only time Emily and I have swapped articles of clothing.
Oh, yeah.
You mean you guys don't share? I thought that was something. This jacket you had. You didn't give her that one?
No. That was actually, maybe that was mine, but after I ran it through a really big shrink cycle in the
Oh,
dryer.
yeah.
Hot water, boiling water. You
Yes.
just boiled it. Got a little
Just
too thin.
boiled it, just went that route with it. So, well, thank you for being here. Are you from Wilmington originally, or how did you wind up in this space here?
I'm from St. Louis. Moved from St. Louis to Phoenix. Lived in Phoenix for 2 years. Moved here in May of 2020 amidst the pandemic.
Ooh.
My wife works at New Hanover Regional,
Okay.
so that's why we ended up moving here.
Oh man, yeah. So that's a whole other podcast. We're not going to talk about how she feels about Navant and the changes and all those sorts of things. But
She
we
doesn't work for the hospital. She
Okay.
works at the hospital for a surgeon group.
Oh,
So
that's a better deal.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's never had really too many complaints.
She's like, I'm in a pretty good spot. So you've been playing music for a while, is my guess. Like listening to your guitar skills and what you do on guitar. And your
8 years
voice.
old.
Yeah,
So
since you're 8.
20 years. God. Yeah, 20 years.
Wow.
I've realized how old I was.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
So yeah, I started when I was 8 years old, and just in and out of bands since I was probably like 10 or 12.
All guitar, other instruments.
I mean, if you're not a musician, all instruments. if you're a musician, guitar.
It's funny how relative that term musician can become,
Uh-huh.
right? You know, so somebody that has no musical background at all, they look at somebody that can play a few chords and like, ooh, musician.
Right.
And, you know, the person that can play a few chords is like, I mean, thanks, but then there's, you know, Hendrix and these other people and Daniel Shiv that like, yeah, I don't know about how I feel calling myself a musician.
You just compare me to Hendrix.
Loosely.
Jeez, just because I know his Hendrix chord.
Yeah, well,
That's
I
the
mean,
only reason.
You know, the internet is wonderful for a lot of things, right? For us modern guitar players, in a way.
You call me Hendrix.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll take it.
You take it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll take
you're not insulted, are you?
No, why would I be insulted? Compared to Hendrix, I love it. I'm cool with that.
So, one of the things that we love to talk about on this show, and speaking of Hendrix, I guess, is writing styles. And so, if there's like a tried and true sort of go-to method that works for you, or if it's sort of all over the board. And the reason I think of Hendrix is because of your guitar playing. Because I've gotten to play guitar with you on stage before, and you know, listening to what you do in your normal songwriting is very different than probably the kind of music I play, which is totally fine by me. Like, I think that's super cool. But then when we played together, you're immediately able to pick up on what I was doing. So there's where the Hendrix comparison sort of comes in. But in terms of your songwriting, is it lyric first? Is it hook and melody first? Is it, you know, chord structure first? What works for you?
I always write the riff first. So I literally just sit down and whether I'm trying to, you know, practice for songs for the band, and then I'll just be like, all right, well, let's just noodle around a little bit. I'll just noodle, get a big pedal board, try and get new instruments, new pedal boards, get that inspiration somehow, try and get new experiences, try and do different things. Sometimes I won't play for a week or so. You sit down, you start playing, and try to write a riff as you will, and then just kind of build off that. And my phone, the voice memos, it's just like...
Yeah, I think that's a common thing.
Yeah, everybody brings up the voice memos on here.
So
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have it on there, and then I'll just flip through every once in a while I'm bored, or if I'm on an airplane, you know, don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm flipping through. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I need to come back and visit that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know, I was working on something the other day. This works with that. Because sometimes, you know, you'll write something, you're like, this is good, but what do I pair it with? You don't really know what to pair it with. And I'm my own worst critic. Like, I could
common theme amongst musicians.
I could write 98 songs a day, but I'll like none of them.
You know, it's
Yeah.
interesting though. Like, we've been talking a little bit about being prolific over perfect, and instead of not. I don't feel like every single song that I write, or maybe that anybody writes, is necessarily one for public consumption. But if you do write a lot, then you also have this whole material group that you can come back to and go, you know what? that song sucks. But that phrase or that hook or that lyric in there somewhere can come out. And I've actually rewritten a couple whole different songs. I'm like, nah, I like the song. I took that one line out of it. Does that happen with you at all? Or?
Yeah, so my band in high school, most of the songs on that album, it was all original music, was all songs I wrote when I was like 10 or 12 that I just revisited. That was the whole point of the album was I'm gonna take the songs I wrote when I was like first starting to write songs and just make them better, in my eyes at least. Yeah. So I rewrote them all, and that became our first album. I was like 16, so it's the first time I ever like recorded a full-length album. Okay. So when I was writing high school. But I do that all the time. Yeah. You revisit something you've been playing for a while, you haven't played it in a while, you're like, it's not good. Or you have two songs, you start thinking, if I just mash these together, because these are two really good ideas with just some filler, if I just get rid of the filler, I can mash these together. It's always good. You have different musicians. You'll play with different people. And that's why I always try to take as much criticism as I can, too. Sure. It's always how you say it. A lot of musicians kind of get that ego. They don't want to hear it, but like...
I like the question, you know, instead of asking as a musician, is what I'm doing good or not? Maybe the question is, how could I improve this?
It's always subjective, too.
Right.
I mean, music is extremely subjective. Do you like what I'm writing? No. I usually don't take offense to, hey, do you like that song? Yeah, it was good. No one's going to tell you it sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of people suggest, well, they'll say, you know, is it okay? Can I make a suggestion? And it's always like, yeah, like I personally am like not going to be offended. If you don't like it, then I'll just be like, that's fine. I love it. So, you know, but if they like send me, like give me a suggestion, like John Hussman, when I was playing with him for Soup to Nuts, he's like, can I make a suggestion for this part? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, I love that. Thank you for suggesting that.
It's everything in life. I mean, as far as just taking a suggestion someone gives you, I always listen to it, whether I use it or not.
Right.
It's at my discretion, so you can't get upset if I don't use it. But I usually take everyone's suggestions and just put it through my head, whether that's music, whether that's with my job, whether that's with a relationship with someone. Listen to it, take it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like a being learning based in your mindset overall approach. I think is helpful. Like if you're not, then it's really easy to get offended, and then you're not hearing potentially good advice. You know, like I think that's part of our responsibility is to take as much insight and advice as we can, and then sort out on the inside what we're going to keep, what we're not going to keep, what like resonates, what doesn't. Yeah. But if you shut that down by immediately like closing your mindset off and having like a limited mindset that's not growth oriented, that's not like let me lean in and learn. Because I don't know about y'all, but I didn't learn to ride a bike by riding it. I learned with like skin knees and busted elbows and fat lips and stuff like that. I remember more from those than I did from like, oh sweet, I landed the jump.
You remember learning to ride a bike?
Ish.
I don't remember a lot from my childhood. I think it's on purpose, though. I think I just it's all like back here. Maybe
yeah, I mean, there's a fair amount that I don't remember, but I do remember really enjoying the bike riding, and that was maybe the escape from the parts that I don't remember. So maybe that's why I remember the bike riding.
I remember it a little bit, too. I remember my parents, like, pushing, like, holding onto the seat and then, like, pushing off. Okay, pedal.
I remember getting yelled at.
Yeah, I remember that a lot.
Why did you get this? I'm like, I was also like 2 feet tall, weighed like 20 pounds, you know?
Because I've only tried this 4 times.
Using my brother's bike, who was huge. My brother's a big dude, so it was like his hand-me-down. I'm like, it's too big for me. Like, give me a smaller bike.
New bike, Mom.
You want to give me a smaller bike? Nah, use what you got. Okay.
So fast forward from picking up guitar at age 8 and starting to write songs at 10 or 12, and now you're here in Wilmington, and you're in a music project called Bad Genetics. And tell us about that project. What's it about?
At the moment, we don't have any original music.
Okay.
That will change.
Yeah.
Our biggest thing starting the band was let's play out live. So, Wilmington wants 3 hours of music.
Yep.
Can't really do 3 hours of original music unless you want to build a bill with a bunch of different bands. But money's not really the biggest factor. We just want to go out and have fun. So, got a really good group of guys. We rehearse like once a week and been together. This group almost a year. So we're trying to figure out now. We're at the point like, all right, what are good transitions between songs? Do we like this song? Do we want to replace it? What are some good ways? All right, let's add more poppy songs in there, but make them more rock. Because we're all 90s, Chili Peppers, Rage Against the Machine. But
grungy.
Yeah, but you also have to appeal to the masses. So we'll put some songs there that we do enjoy playing, but like I want to play like, Chili Pepper songs no one's heard of because they're my favorite songs.
Right.
But no one's gonna know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll enjoy. We're gonna play it well. We're all good musicians, but people don't usually care.
Yeah.
They want to sing along.
They want to sing along. So we
Yeah.
added in like an ABBA song. We added in "Man After Midnight." Made it more rock.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I want to hear that.
No Diggity by Blackstreet. We added that one in.
Cool.
Okay.
So we're adding in some of those and trying to transition and have almost a set where, all right, well, here's where people can dance-ish. Then you have kind of more of a set of here are kind of the popular songs, like we're doing a Spin Doctor song. And then we kind of have the parts where these are the songs we kind of want to play.
Yeah.
Like we do some Tool songs. Not many people want to hear Tool.
Yeah.
Do some Chili Pepper songs. More of try to get songs that people know. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we're selfish and we kind of do it for us. But we do want to get booked. So there's that like big like, I want to play what I want to play.
Yeah.
They're not going to know any of these songs.
I mean, I think you're totally tapping into a conversation that performing songwriters have, especially in Wilmington, you know, and I mean, I know Emily and I have talked about this, TK and I talk about this constantly for our duo as well, because the stuff that we want to play that's like inspiring is not necessarily recognizable.
Right.
And then for me, like when I was on the other side of the guitar, more in the audience for songwriter type stuff, I always really appreciated when I got introduced to new music by someone that was covering something that was really, really, you know, not as well known or recognizable. Embarrassing story, I was listening to some people cover a tune one time and I really fell in love with it. And the tune is, and it just went out of my mind. It's a Dylan tune and I can play the chords. I could sing it for you right now and the title just went away out of my
Do
head.
it. Give me a little bit of it. We'll see.
I Shall Be Released. That's the name of the song.
Nice.
Any day now, I shall be released. Dylan tune. I think Bette Midler covered it. And I was like trying to figure out who did it. And I wrote my friends who covered it. And I saw it. And I'm like, oh, there's a Bette Midler song that you guys do. And they were like, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about, dude? That's not Bette Midler. That's Bob Dylan. Oh, my bad. You know.
Oh, same way, because like Man After Midnight is ABBA. I heard it from
Right.
Cher, which she released in a full. Cher can do whatever she wants. She literally released an entire ABBA album as hers. And Man After Midnight was on. This was the first time I had heard it. I was like, oh, this song's amazing. And I'm not a real pop guy, but I was like, this song's fucking great.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, that was what, you know, I was like, I brought it to the band. I was like, we can make this easily rock. And all the guys are like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you know, I guess when you get to Cher's level, you can afford to buy the royalties and still make money on the project all at the same
It was
time.
like, it was like 2018, too. So she was fully in her like
kicking
60,
it.
65.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to do a full ABBA album.
Yeah.
Just released it.
It's interesting, though, because I think that's the common thread, like, for me, that's sort of a dividing line on whether you're a cover band or an original music band, because I feel like if you're a cover band, you're, like, really strictly covering it like it is on the album, you know, and that's kind of your rehearsal mechanism is, like, everybody go away, learn the part that you hear for you on the album, then come back and rehearse it together. And I love what you're doing where you're taking it and you're making it your own, because that, to me, is, like, inspiring as a songwriter, where both in the doing of it, but also the hearing of it, you know, so I love to hear somebody else cover something totally different, you know, so to hear you guys covering ABBA, I think is cool, but it probably will affect your songwriting down the road as a group.
It is impossible, especially for the lead singer, to say in a 3-hour set with 90s music, hey, I want you to sound like Rob Zombie, but also I want you to sound like Anthony Kiedis. Also, I want you to, it's impossible.
Oh, yeah.
So every song we do is going to have a little bit of flavor of our own to it. It's just how it is. Or I'm not going to have the right gear to make certain sounds. Like I actually just bought a whammy pedal so we can do Rage songs a little better, so I can get that Tom Morello sound. That's just because I wanted the whammy pedal anyway. But that was my excuse. I get to buy it. Yeah, I get to buy it. But like you're always going to have that. Like there's no way. You have who you sound like. Like people tell me my voice sounds a lot like Billy Joe from Green Day. Like my lead singer of Bad Genetics, he sounds more like Josh Homme, Queens of the Stone Age. So everybody kind of sounds like someone else. But
So do you guys, you have a lead singer, and do you ever sing lead on any of the songs? Do you kind of like swap out at all, or?
So the second set, I usually do like 5 or 6 songs, give him a little bit of a break, a little more of a break, which
That's nice.
the whole
yeah.
idea of bringing in another singer, because we were a 3-piece, was just the music that we're playing and the music I want to play and we all wanted to play was taxing on guitar. So my guitar playing was lacking, also singing. And also the singing was lacking because I was trying to play guitar. So what do I focus on? Do I focus on the singing? Probably should, but I just felt like I wanted to play the guitar more. So we got him in. He just strictly sings great front man.
Play any instruments or not at all?
Him?
Yeah, him.
He does, but not in the band, no.
Yeah. Well, and where I'm headed with that is thinking, okay, so you guys are getting all this stage experience together. You're getting all this performance experience, kind of like working up your chops as a group. And, you know, as you see this project unfolding, you feel like it'll be a collab write session, each person writing stuff, bringing it back to the group. How do you feel like that's going to work out? Or have you started that kind of process of beginning to think about creating original music together?
We have, and before, like a year ago, the band was starting to write original music. And then we lost some members, and it just kind of went to the wayside of, we already had gigs booked, and we lost members. Now it's like, all right, we need to get 3 hours up again. So like it started just being that like rush. So we're finally the past couple months not in that rush anymore to really get that 3 hour back up. So now we're at the point of, hey, let's introduce, you know, a song or two at a practice, see if we can get to them, replace some of the ones we don't like. And then we've introduced some originals too, like the lead singer does write. I write songs. Our drummer actually writes some songs too. And the bass player does too. They each have their own. The drummer and the bassist have their own original bands. So they kind of get that already. I don't get that. I put all my heart into Bad Genetics. Also, I just don't have time with getting my master's degree. Also, with work, I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, congratulations on that.
I haven't gotten it yet, but
well,
thank you.
I feel certain that you will succeed in achieving your master's degree.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, surviving.
So you've mentioned a lot of different 90s rock stuff, Chili Peppers, Rage, different grunge. Are those your biggest influences in your writing, would you say?
Yeah, Tom Morello and John Frusciante, for sure.
For sure.
Started with Chili Peppers. I love the Chili Peppers more than anything. And then I kind of got more into Rage Against the Machine, some more of the rap style, because I always liked rap too. But I like the instrumentation that went along with the rap too. Went into, most people don't admit it, but I will, Limp Bizkit. I still love Limp Bizkit. Sure. I actually brought it up to the band. They laughed like, that'd be funny to do. I'm like, I was like, yeah, that would be funny. And I'm
fun.
Like, oh,
fun.
But like, I know what it is. Like, Anthony Kiedis of the Chili Peppers, some of his lyrics are absolutely stupid. But it's just what it is. Like, you just take it for what it is. And I try to take whatever the music is what it is. Some people aren't trying to write the deepest songs, or Tool writes about, like the Fibonacci sequence, and they write about all this stuff. And it's like, Anthony Kiedis will just, whatever comes to him.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting because the lyric is important, right? And a lot of what we do and see on the voice and the pen is really honing in on the lyric. But also, I think as a songwriter, and especially as a band, you're putting out a diverse combination of sound, right? And so sound is energy. It has an effect on people. So sometimes if you don't have great lyric, but you have great sound supporting it, I mean, if you got Flea playing bass, like,
it depends on the music too.
It totally depends on the music.
Because like,
dumb lyrics, are very simple. No, it's not to say dumb. That's probably not the right way to say it, but like very superficial, surface level lyrics with oohs and ahs, but the music is deep. Killer, and it's like, I'm still loving this. This is so good, and then sometimes it's both.
Like the melody. If the melody is really cool, but it's a simple line, it's like, this line is really not special, but the melody is really cool, so it makes me want to sing that over again.
My wife does not like the Chili Peppers because of the reason of the lyrics are absolutely stupid. I'm like, yes, they are. But as a guitarist, I just appreciate Chad Smith's a phenomenal drummer. Flea is probably one of I always had this debate with my buddies who was the best bassist, which now I think it might be Victor Wooten. Maybe. I always said Flea because my favorite band is Chili Peppers. In high school, his favorite band was Rush, so he always said it was Geddy Lee.
I mean,
I always had the debate.
It's hard to say best, like they all have different dynamics, different styles. I think Victor,
subjective.
Yeah, it's subjective. Victor feels like right now, like maybe the most well-rounded. I was watching him with a symphony the other day, playing his bass with a bow, doing some wild stuff. Oh yeah, there's a cool YouTube video of it.
With a bow.
With a bow,
almost like Les Claypool style.
Yeah,
getting
exactly.
out there, but just an actual bass, not like an upright bass or like a cello.
Bass, electric bass.
I'm gonna have to look that up after this. Yeah,
with a bow.
With a bow, like a cello or cello bow, probably.
No, not a bass player. I mean, obviously Les Claypool, Primus does some weird stuff. You put a whammy bar on the bass, and he's another phenomenal bassist. Yeah. Again, a band that you either hate or you love, because the lyrics don't make really much sense, or they do, but they're kind of like innuendos for something else. Or
wait, innuendos in music?
And he doesn't really sing. Kind of sings like, I don't know. I like Primus. My wife. Yeah. She's big into the lyrics, but I'm like,
So
listen to
how's Willie Nelson in your house?
you kind of look like Willie Nelson, like back, like, you know, not now.
I
I don't know how old he is. What, 40, 50 years in his past? Just the hair and the beard.
Yeah, he's I guess he's pushing 90 now. So
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh my
What's his
gosh.
guitar pushing? 70?
107.
That guitar with a hole in it. He's
Trigger.
got like a
Yeah.
guitar with
It's
a
called Trigger, right?
huge hole in it.
Yeah.
Trigger. It's a couple huge holes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like I love Willie. I've always loved his music, and especially love the album Redheaded Stranger because it's such a departure. Like New Things, it's like a musical, really, and the songs loosely make sense together. But Trigger, yeah. Anyways, that's a whole sidebar about what kind of duct tape, glue, and staple gun they use to keep that thing together and sounding good. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
But anyways,
It's funny because it's held together by like bubble gum, but when he dies, what's that? Who's gonna get that guitar? How much is it worth?
I think I know who's going to get it, and it'll probably be Lucas Nelson, his kid. Lucas Nelson,
I would-
Promise of the
I would
Real.
imagine.
Yeah, I'm going with that. But how much it's worth, I don't know. I bet you there is a little baggie or several little baggies placed strategically inside of the holes on his guitar, though, knowing Willie.
Well, I know that Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar.
Mhm.
I think that's sold for like a couple $100,000.
I believe it. Easy, sure.
I don't know. He had a name for that one too. It was the SRV.
Yeah.
I'm
Strat that
surprised
he
it's
had.
not in a museum somewhere.
I think it will be. I mean, it's not just because it's Willie's guitar. Obviously, that's an important component of it. But it's a really antique Martin classical guitar. So it's got some value innately. It's outside of the
Yeah.
fact that it spent 174 years in Willie's lap. Okay. Oh man! So another thing that comes to mind thinking about music, and I really have been wanting to ask you this question because of all of your influences. So you're writing these hooks, right? Lyrical, not a lyrical hook, but a melodic hook with guitar. But for you, in your mind, how does the rhythm section work as you're forming a song? Is that something that you hear in your head? Because a lot of the bands that you've referenced, heavy rhythm section focus, which really makes the guitar part stand out like really nice and bright when you have that big, solid structure, to kind of work off of as the lead guitar player. So how does that play into your mind as you're writing?
I do. I'll hear pretty much the entire thing of what it should be, or in my head, what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't try to tell anyone in my band, though, how to do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone should bring their own flavor to it anyway. If it's just me writing it, I'll make my own just band of my own. Like, it's Bad Genetics is not my band, it's our band.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to always, when I bring something to the table, let's write to this, not, hey, this is your part. I'll give the suggestion just like they can give to me, hey, maybe if you did this or your vocal melody, do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a collaborative thing. But yeah, I usually do hear the entire song in my head.
Yeah.
So I kind of, but someone can bring something to the table. I'm like, oh, no, it's better. That's better than what I had.
Yeah.
Or try it this way real quick. I always kind of leave it up to the person playing it because ultimately they have to play it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I want them, it shows on your face. If you're playing a song that you really enjoy, it shows on your face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
If you're struggling,
It shows. The whole band. Yeah. I mean, if you're having a good time, like, that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Because, like I said, we're primarily just a live band at the moment. We
Mhm.
rehearse, we get out and play these songs live. So we really want to make sure that whatever we're playing, we want to play it to a certain extent. There's some songs that we don't like playing much anymore, and that makes it fun too.
Mhm.
Like we do Cumbersome by 7 Mary 3.
Okay, yeah.
It's a good song, right? Been doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Long time.
Yeah, it's been out for a long time.
We don't really like playing it that
Yeah.
much.
I was gonna say you get bored.
It's bored.
You get bored with it.
But I like it has
Yeah.
good melodies. Like I can do a good melody with the lead singer, and we do Low by Cracker too,
Mm-hmm.
which it's fun for me. Has some pretty cool guitar parts, and I can solo. Everybody else, it's boring,
Yeah.
so they don't like it. But we keep it in there.
Because
And
it's
I'm
a
like-
crowd pleaser.
It's a crowd pleaser too, so I just tell them, I'm like, be as crazy with it as you want. Doesn't really matter. So the whole rhythm section, like our bassist will put like an octave pedal on while he's playing it, or the drummer will do insane fills. I'm like, do whatever, have fun with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely can relate to that because there's something like Brown Eyed Squirrel, girl. I mean, sorry.
I played that one last night because someone wanted Van Morrison, and I was like,
Did you
It's
say
not-
Brown Eyed Squirrel? If you play that song, you have to say squirrel now. You do? You have
yeah.
to. I mean, we have stories like that too. We had a lady
It
come
is
up
funny
to us.
try and say something and see if people notice. Something different.
Oh yeah, we had a lady come to us after a show. It was actually during the show because people just have no respect for what you're
Yeah.
doing, right? Don't come up to us during a show. Like, wait till after. We love you, but after, please. They come up to us, and she stopped our singer, and she just goes, "That song you guys played, it's amazing. I can't believe you wrote a song and you were able to say "Suck My Tits." It was "Suck My Kiss" by the Chili Peppers. She thought it was "Suck My Tits," and she thought it was our own song. And luckily, the lead singer has the exact same thing as us. He was like, "Yeah, that is our own song, and you're welcome." Let her walk away. So on our set list, I have never not written "Suck My Tits" every single time, and he says it too. And it's not a part of the song you can hide. It stops, and he says, "Suck my kiss."
Yeah.
He says it every single time, and we laugh. You have a good time.
That's good. I mean, I think that's a huge, important part of it. But it is funny, like whatever you're doing on stage, when people who clearly are not musicians, right? They're clearly have never done this before, and you're in like mid belt, and they're like, "Hey, can I?" And you're like, "No, like this is the worst possible timing ever, mid solo."
Yeah, they're coming up like trying to request a song while you're playing, and they're like, "Hey." And you're like talking and singing. You're like, you realize I can't respond to you right now because I'm singing, correct?
Yeah. And I'm doing 6 other things in addition to that because I'm thinking about what I'm singing, what I'm playing, what the next song is going to be, and where I can get a water refill without having to ask for it.
And where I can get a water without ice. They always put ice in there. Like, I want lukewarm water for my voice.
Yeah. It varies.
I bring my own.
Yeah, I usually
from now on. I bring
a water bottle is somewhere. It's missing.
By the way, if someone does want to come up to us during a show, if you have like a 20. I'm pretty cheap. You got a 20 and you have
I'll talk.
Right. We'll stop the entire song for $100. I will stop the entire thing for $100.
Yeah, right.
$100, whatever you got.
I mean, I like that as a good way to talk to people about what we're going to play next as well. They're like, I mean, for $100, you'll get some version of any song you ask for.
100%.
I can't guarantee that it'll be great,
right?
But you'll get a version of it.
We're a '90s alternative cover band. We've been asked to do Tennessee Whiskey 105,000 times.
Or Wagon Wheel.
Oh yeah.
I've not gotten Wagon Wheel. I got Tennessee Whiskey. What else did we get? A lot of times, Tennessee Whiskey is one. We'll get like weird suggestions, like, "Can you do like Mariah Carey?" I'm like, I can't sing that. Like, I have a pretty good falsetto.
That's like the equivalent of me being asked to do Metallica. I feel like.
I think
or Johnny Cash.
Well, I do Johnny Cash.
Do you? What do you do? You Ring of Fire? Or?
I do Ring of Fire, and I do Folsom Prison Blues.
Nice.
You could do Metallica. I would actually love to see you do Metallica. Just make it your own.
Yes.
Because we'll do that at practice too. We were doing Bulls on Parade, but we were doing it real, like almost like it was like a spoken words thing.
Yeah, when I was just in
my
mind
explodes,
envisioning Emily doing "Nothing Else Matters."
Yeah.
Just slow it way down even further than that song starts off. Super slow. Make it like a ballad.
I think she should go the opposite route.
Oh, speed it up.
Yeah, pick one of their like most thrash songs.
Yeah.
What's the one where it almost sounds like I'm not as good with Metallica? The one where it sounds like there's a witch. Nah, 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 nah. You know that one?
Song. I don't know the name, but I know the song. Oh, this is gonna bother me for the rest of the day.
And you have to have CB do the na-na-nas. It's almost like a witch.
My brother-in-law would know.
Yes.
Huge Metallica
People
fan.
are going to kill me. I'm just not. I'm honestly, 90s was before my time, too. I'm so young.
Oh. I mean, there's a reason that we're over here talking about the brown-eyed squirrel and stuff, because large demographic for my audience is people that are, 10 to 30 years older than me. And they're like, Red Hot Chili, what? Sad, but true.
Yeah,
no, I caught it. No, I caught that one. No, I caught it immediately. Also, you gave me a look, like
I didn't intend to do that. Like I gave you the look at the end of the words because I'm like, I just made a good Metallica joke and didn't realize it. It's like a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Oh, I think all squirrels are probably brown-eyed. I've never looked a squirrel in the eye.
Maybe I was just gonna say albino
squirrels.
Yeah, but you ever seen an albino squirrel? No, you haven't. TK behind the mic.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had.
You probably own one. You probably got one. You bring it in like, that's my flying squirrel.
Sugar glider. You know the sugar gliders?
Yeah. From Missouri, we had all the sugar gliders.
You got sugar gliders in Missouri?
Yeah.
Is that like a native thing?
I don't know. They're there.
They're there.
I don't know what's native
Mostly
anymore.
in people's rooms.
We've taken a turn.
There's some in North Carolina, too.
Yeah, I've heard that. that.
Someone that was injured.
Yeah.
I didn't nurse it back to health. I still think about it to this day.
Did you just drive by it or walk by it or like?
I was walking and I kind of saw it. I didn't think it was what it was, though.
Kind of like, I don't see
I think about things like that. If I hit a raccoon, it ruins my whole year.
Oh, man. A whole year?
Yeah, a year.
Oh, dude.
It was just trying to... I remember because it was when we had the power outage from... What hurricane was that? Isaias? Maybe it was a tropical storm.
Yeah, that one.
Isaias.
Yeah.
We lost power. So we were just driving around and hit a raccoon. I was like, just because I'm bored, I had to kill a raccoon. I still think about it.
Was it daylight?
No,
Oh, I was gonna say if it's daytime, it's probably rabid, and you're probably helping it. I was just trying to give you comfort.
nothing gives me comfort.
Nothing gives you comfort.
No.
Bad genetics.
That's why I
gives
write
you
music.
comfort. It's why you write music.
Write a song about that.
Take comfort from your bad genetics.
The name Bad Genetics comes from the fact that my whole family, like lineage, has depression, anxiety, scoliosis, fibromyalgia, arthritis. Like the list goes on and on with the genetics in my family. And one day I was like, oh, we have bad genetics. I was like, oh, that'd be a good band name. And I Googled it. Like, no one has that name.
Yeah, there you go.
So we can't get sued because we're just huge.
Yes.
So we're just so big.
Well, this has been super fun chatting with you. Can't wait to do it again sometime, but we definitely want to hear you play some music. So we're going to switch over and get to the music part of this. Y'all, thanks for hanging out and enjoying the Voice in the Pen podcast with Daniel Shiv.
April 2nd, 7 Mile Post.
April 2nd,
6
7
p.m.
Mile Post, 6 p.m. And also Emily and I are having fun here hanging out as we usually do, chatting
Always.
music and songwriting with folks. So stand by for some music and we'll be back real quick.
Such a hard job.
Oh, it's rough. rough. It's a hard way to make an easy living. That's what a friend of mine named Dennis Princeton wrote a song about being a songwriter called It's a Hard Way to Make an Easy Living.
It's not a fun job. Like, that's why I don't do it for a living. Like, everybody's like, why don't you be a musician? Really? I'm like, nah, I don't. Nope. It would ruin it for me. Like, I want to have fun.
Yeah, you want to have fun and let go of things, go perform and emotionally release.
Jump around like a brown-eyed squirrel on stage.
Jump up, get down.
Or an albino.
Crisscross will make you jump.
So many song references.
Wiggity wiggity whack. Yeah, I figured it out. After a second, I was like, crisscross. Like, oh yeah, they were everything backwards. It's the dumbest thing. The 90s sucked. But come see us, 90s alternative.
Yeah, do it. Go see the grunge. All right, we'll be back in a minute with some music from Daniel Shiv.
Here comes the man with his all-foreseeing plan, recognizing his demise, but he cannot stop spreading lies. Here he comes again. Here he comes back against the wall. Twist the meaning wholly, he is nothing but phony, coming down, feeling up, dragging fate with his sacrimonious lies. And here he comes again. Here he comes back against the wall, clutching bloodied hands, living grime with his all-foreseeing plan. And he cries, acid rain, living grime, sacrimony plan. Yeah, there comes the man. And she knows she's just a nuisance. There's no doubt in that. She knows she can complicate me. Where is the perspective? But it's you I'm addicted to. But it's you I'm addicted. And I know she's leaving, so I packed her suitcase. But it's okay. It's okay, 'cause I know she'll be back one day. But it's you I'm addicted to. But it's you I'm addicted to. And I know she's just a nuisance, but there's no doubt in that. Even when it's time to function, she just can't go long. But it's you I'm addicted to. But it's you I'm addicted. And I know she's leaving, so I packed her suitcase. But it's okay now, 'cause I know that she'll be back one day. But it's you I'm addicted to. But it's you I'm addicted. And I know she's leaving, so I packed her suitcase. But it's okay now, 'cause I know that she'll be back one day, and I will have her bed made, and it's you I'm addicted to. But it's you I'm addicted. I think I am ready to move on, but there's a knock at my door.